All you need to start rewiring your brain for languages is this. This is Arti, the proof of concept app for iOS and Android that we've been trialling with intermediate Mandarin learners this spring. The idea is to take the only language learning technique that works, the immersion or input method, and completely reinvent it so it's much easier, faster, and more fun. It's real language learning, but designed entirely for beginners. We call it Artificial Immersion. So how does it work? Well, immersion builds a new brain network for your new language, here in the brain's language center. Without that network, your brain won't be fast enough to follow a conversation. That network is usually what's missing when you're finding languages difficult, and ignoring it is the reason that language learning at schools and on popular apps often doesn't seem to work at all. To build a network, we need to activate the sounds of the language and the meaning of the language in parallel, because neurons that fire together wire together. That wiring up happens naturally when we immerse, but we want to artificially speed up that wiring. The trick is, our brains can handle verbal input and non-verbal input in parallel also, and we want to wire up sound and meaning in parallel. So if we put the sound in as the verbal input, we need to find a way to get our brain thinking about meaning in a non-verbal way. And we can do that brilliantly with touchscreen gestures.
So what does that actually look like? If we hear some dialogue in the game, such as
我非常爱我的家人
which just means I love my family very much, I'm going to need to draw some of these gestures. So that's 我爱非常 very much, I love 我的 my 家人 family, and I get all this visual feedback as I'm doing it.
We found that you only need 30 or so gestures to capture almost any meaning or idea, and your brain adapts to this conceptual shorthand very well. While you're thinking about the sound and drawing these gestures in parallel, your native language starts to naturally fall away, and soon you find yourself comfortably listening to your new language. That's an unusual feeling for beginners. There's no multiple choice, no exercises, you're completely focused on hearing and understanding the language. It's a very smooth, flow-like experience. Gradually, things seem more and more comprehensible. That feeling is this new language network we were talking about, starting to come online in your brain. We call this microfluency. Micro, because it's only a few hundred words at first, but as you play the game more and more, that microfluency sensation occurs at higher and higher levels with more and more complex language. And you still only need 30 gestures. You can find out much more about the science behind all this, or about how the game and language courses will work, or you can just download our proof of concept app for intermediate Chinese users at artilanguages.com.